There is a certain kind of person whose endings rarely look like arguments. There is no big scene, no screaming match, no dramatic goodbye. One day they are replying, listening, showing up, and then the messages get shorter, the calls slow down, and eventually they disappear. From the outside, it looks cold, selfish, even cruel. Friends say things like, "They just cut everyone off," or "They blocked me for no reason." But inside that person, the story feels very different. It usually starts with exhaustion, not hatred, with disappointment, not indifference. Very often, people who end up cutting everyone off did not start life as distant. They started on the opposite side, as the listener, the fixer, the reliable one. They were the child who understood the mood in the room before anyone spoke, the teenager who comforted friends at 3 a.m, the adult who stayed late and tried to be the strong one for everyone else. If you grow up around unpredictability, criticism, or emotional neglect, you learn quickly that the safest role is to be useful. You learn that your value is in what you can fix, carry, or hold for others. Psychology sometimes calls this overfunctioning, doing more than your share to stabilize relationships and environments. But you cannot be endlessly available without cost. Over years, your nervous system stores every small disappointment, every broken promise, every moment you swallowed your needs to keep the peace. On the surface, you keep moving. Inside, a quiet counter of resentment begins to tick. At first, you still try to explain yourself. You tell people, "It's fine, I'm just tired, it's not a big deal." You give second chances, third chances, and then just one more. But every time you override your limits, the pressure increases. Eventually, something small happens, and instead of another conversation, something in you simply shuts down. From the outside, it looks sudden. From the inside, it feels like the final straw your body has been waiting for years. When someone like this finally cuts people off, it often feels less like a decision and more like survival. Their body has learned that conflict is dangerous, that asking for needs leads to shame, or that trying to fix things never really changes anything. So instead of one more painful talk, their nervous system chooses the fastest escape route: silence, withdrawal, distance. In trauma language, this can look like a flight or freeze response. Not, "I don't care about you," but "I don't know how to keep myself safe while staying close to you." Underneath "I'm done," there is often, "I don't trust that you will listen if I explain. I don't trust myself to stay calm if we talk. I don't want to see that disappointed look on your face again." Cutting everyone off gives an immediate sense of control. The constant buzzing of messages stops. There are no more invitations to decline, no more obligations to meet. For a while, silence feels like relief, like finally exhaling after years of holding your breath. This is why people who cut others off are often labeled cold or heartless, but internally they feel the opposite: highly sensitive, easily overwhelmed, and deeply tired. Pulling away is not about enjoying other people's pain. It is about stepping out of roles that were slowly burning them out. There is also a cultural layer to this story. Online, you constantly see messages like, "Block them immediately," "Protect your peace," "You owe them nothing." Some of this advice is necessary and healthy. People need language for abuse, manipulation, and real toxicity. Leaving dangerous or deeply harmful relationships can be life-saving. But when the same logic is applied to every discomfort and every imperfect person, something else happens. Avoidance gets dressed up as empowerment. Never texting back becomes a personality trait. Blocking someone after one conflict is framed as strength, not fear. Psychology often links this pattern to avoidant attachment and unresolved relational trauma. If closeness has historically meant criticism, control, or abandonment, your nervous system will read intimacy as unsafe. So when a relationship moves from light and fun into vulnerable and real, your body wants to run. It tells you, cut them off before they hurt you, leave before they see too much. disappear before they get close enough to reject you. In this state, cutting people off is not just about specific people. It becomes a general strategy. Distance is safer than dependence. The belief underneath is often, I can only rely on myself. If I need no one can disappoint me. The tragedy is that this strategy protects you from pain, but also from connection. You avoid the sharp sting of conflict, but you also miss the slow warmth of repair, those moments when someone stays, apologizes, and grows with you. Safety becomes a small, quiet room where no one can reach you. Comfortable, but very lonely. Part of the confusion here is the difference between boundaries and walls. Boundaries sound like, I can't talk right now, let's continue this later. I care about you, but I won't accept being spoken to like that. I need more time to trust this relationship, let's slow down. Walls sound like, blocked, no explanation, disappear. Boundaries require communication and some level of emotional presence. You are still in the relationship, just with clearer limits. Walls remove you from the relationship entirely. You disappear to avoid discomfort rather than navigate it. People who cut everyone off often grew up in environments where boundaries were not safe. Maybe speaking up led to yelling, punishment, or emotional shutdown. Maybe expressing needs was met with ridicule or silence. So their nervous system never learned the skill of staying and negotiating. It only learned endure or escape. From that history, building walls can feel like the only option. If you have never experienced conflict that leads to deeper trust, why would you believe in repair? Why risk conversation when disappearance has always been the quickest way to stop the pain? Even when cutting everyone off feels like relief, it usually comes with a delayed cost. At first, there is quiet. Then, slowly, there is emptiness. Loneliness appears not as a dramatic breakdown, but as small moments. No one to text when something funny happens. No one who knows your history well enough to understand a single word or look. No one to reality check your fears because you no longer let anyone close enough. Over time, the mind can start to tell painful stories. Maybe I really am too much. Maybe no one ever cared about me. They only cared about what I did for them. Maybe I'm not meant to have long-term relationships. The more you believe these thoughts, the harder it becomes to re-enter connection. Each new person feels like a risk you cannot afford. You might still crave intimacy, but you keep it in fantasy, imagining a perfect friend or partner who will never misunderstand or disappoint you. Real people, with their flaws and limits, feel unbearable. In this way, cutting everyone off can turn into a self-fulfilling prophecy. You distance yourself to avoid being hurt, but the isolation hurts you in a different way. Then that pain becomes proof that relationships are unsafe, which makes you cut people off even faster the next time. If you recognize yourself in this pattern, it does not mean you are broken or incapable of love. It usually means you protected yourself in the only ways you knew how. The goal is not to force yourself into constant availability or to stay in harmful relationships. The goal is to add more options between endure everything and cut everyone off. You can start very small with micro boundaries. You do not have to jump from blocking people to long emotional talks. Instead, practice tiny sentences that keep you connected while protecting your energy. I'll reply tomorrow. I'm tired today. I care about you, but I need some alone time this weekend. I'm not in the right headspace to discuss this right now. Every time you use them, you teach your nervous system that you can stay in connection without losing yourself. You can also notice when you are cutting people off in your head before you do it in real life. Many of us mentally discard others long before we block them. We rehearse conversations, imagine worst-case scenarios, and decide it's pointless without ever giving the relationship a chance. When you catch that inner cutoff, pause and ask, is this person actually unsafe or just imperfect? Have I clearly communicated my limits even once? If they responded better than I expect, what might that look like? Sometimes, instead of total disappearance, you can choose selective distance. Less frequent messages, shorter calls, more group settings instead of intense one-on-one. You are still protecting yourself, but you are keeping the door open for repair instead of slamming it shut. And if this pattern runs deep, it can be incredibly healing to explore it with a therapist or at least with one patient, trustworthy person. Sitting with someone who does not punish you for needing space, who can stay while you practice boundaries badly at first, is often the experience that starts to rewire this whole pattern. You learn, slowly, that being seen is not always followed by being hurt, that some people can hear no and still stay. People who cut everyone off are not born cold. They are often the ones who cared too much for too long with too little protection. Cutting ties became a last resort technology for safety when no one ever showed them what healthy boundaries look like. If this is you, this is not an accusation. It is a quiet invitation. You do not have to swing between overgiving and disappearing. There is space in the middle where you can protect your peace, speak your limits, and still stay available to the kind of connection that actually nourishes you. Silence can be protection, but it does not have to be the only language you know.